Hello. In this video, we're going to cover how to update scoreboard or quick score measures or KPIs with Excel spreadsheets and our product Connect. We're going to start by looking at the way that KPIs and measures are structured in scoreboard and quick score. It's important for you to keep this in your mind before you start trying to understand how to use Connect. So we'll take a look at some scorecards. When we look at a safety, quality, cost, reliability scorecard, you can see that we're divided into key performance areas. If this were quick score, we'd be looking at perspectives. And all of the measures are arranged vertically. And we can report the data across a number of different months. Similarly, we may be looking at a sales rep's monthly performance. The same situation, except that we're looking at no key performance areas, no perspectives, just measures, but they're always arranged vertically. Or we may be looking at a P&L scorecard, in which case all of the KPIs measures are broken out by P&L categories. In every case, what you see is all of the measures are arranged vertically. It's important for you to keep this in mind because when you go in to create a data mapping to an Excel spreadsheet in Connect, you're going to see exactly the same structure choices. You're going to see the organization tree that you've created in Scoreboard or Quick Score, and then you're going to see your scorecard tree when you select your KPI or measure mappings. We're going to go through what you see, then we're going to give you examples. When you're going to create a new import mapping, the first step is to create basic information. So this is spreadsheet data upload. You want to choose Excel or CSV. The preferred format is Excel because we read Excel's native format. There are issues with reading text files, although you can upload a CSV file. We prefer to take Excel files. The import type is update metric values, not build a scorecard. What we do then is browse to an Excel spreadsheet with information on our computer desktop. We select it, and when we select it, then we can then automatically upload it. The next two choices are source data, in which case you're going to label what your source data is made of. We're going to come back to this. But when you label it, you label the metric ID or metric name. You're going to tell the application where the date is. In this case, the dates are horizontal. So that's a date header row. When you choose a date header row, you do not have to make any other choices. The application knows that these are your measure names, and that is what you're going to be mapping. You can choose the format for your dates. They're all numerical formats. You cannot use name formats. And you can choose the values, where the thousand separator is either a comma or a number. The next step is the one that's important to remember. You recognize the scorecard tree, or the organization tree. It's the same organization tree that you have built in Scoreboard or Quick Score. You select which scorecard you're going to map to. This scorecard is going to be structured exactly the same way as the scorecard in Quick Score or Connect. In this case, we're looking at the East Coast plant. Exactly the same. You can choose to select individual KPIs or measures to map, or you can click on the name of the scorecard and choose all of them. And then in the next step, you're going to map each measure on the spreadsheet, the measure names on the spreadsheet, to the measure names that are on the scorecard. If the measure names on the spreadsheet are exactly the same as the measure names on the scorecard, then Connect will automatically create the mapping for you. So this is the basic set of knowledge you need to understand. Now we're going to look at 3 different types of situations for mapping spreadsheets. Now let's look at the 3 different formats for your spreadsheet that you can use for uploading data into Scoreboard or QuickScore with Connect. The first format, you have your KPI or performance measures in a column vertically. You have the date for the value, the actual value that you intend to upload vertically in a column, and you have the values vertically in a column. This format is a format that allows you also to upload your thresholds. You can upload thresholds into the future, thresholds for each period, and while I have labeled these goal and red flag, in fact, Connect only uses the term threshold. And Connect maps those based upon your worst to best performance going left to right. You need one threshold value for each threshold according to the scoring type that you selected when you created the measure. The next kind of spreadsheet is a spreadsheet where, once again, the KPIs or performance measures are in a column vertically, but now you have dates as a column header. This kind of spreadsheet does not allow you to update thresholds. This form of spreadsheet only allows you to update the actual values for each one of the KPIs for the periods. And finally, you have the kind of spreadsheet that typically comes out of a financial or production system. This is an example of an export from QuickBooks. In a QuickBooks export, you have your P&L categories, the value for the period, and the date is not readable. In this kind of spreadsheet, you can add a threshold column or threshold columns if you have more than one threshold. We only have one threshold with goal only. These are the 3 kinds of spreadsheets that you use to upload data. So now let's take a look at how we map to those spreadsheets in Connect. We'll repeat exactly what we did the last time. We'll create a new upload. This time we're going to do thresholds and values. So we're going to go and get the sales rep production report. We look at the source data, and this one says use the date specified in the data row. So in this case, I have the data row here. I need to identify the measures. Now I've identified the measures. You will notice that because I had the name value and the name threshold, Connect automatically mapped the value and threshold fields to the right column. Once I've mapped it, I've verified that my date format is right, my value format is right, then I can select the scorecard. In this case, we're looking at the sales rep monthly performance. I know that I want every sales rep, so I click the top. I see all of the sales reps. Next, I want to map the spreadsheet performance measure KPI names to the application performance measure KPI names. Because they're exactly the same, Connect has automatically mapped them. Then I save it. I do have the option at this point to schedule this import. In situations where, for instance, we have some customers that use a secure FTP process to put files on their hosted server, the file has the same format, only the dates and the values change. They schedule it to run once a week or once a month. In this case, we're not going to schedule it, we're just going to save it. Now we're going to look at another kind of mapping. In this case, it is values with a date row header. This, as you recall, is the production measures spreadsheet. If I'm uploading a new spreadsheet to replace one that's already on the server, I click Overwrite any existing files. Once again, I go look at the source data. In this case, I say use a date header row. It finds the date header row. It now asks me to identify the KPI or performance measure names. I identify it. Then I select the scorecard. Same presentation as you see in Quick Score or Scoreboard. Your organization chart on your left, your scorecard structure on the right. I select all of the measures, and then I map them. Because they have exactly the same name, they have been automatically mapped. If they had not had the same name, I would have had to have dragged them from the left, where the spreadsheet name would be, onto the right to match the scoreboard or quick score name. I say OK, and then I save. Now finally, we're going to take a look at mapping the P&L output example. And I look at technology P&L. You'll notice again, Excel, upload, update metric values, and I then go to my source data. You'll notice in this case, I don't have a date, so I'm going to use a specific date. The date here is going to be the end of July. I'm going to ignore these fields. This has no value, so I'm going to ignore that field. I'm going to ignore that field. So those are the fields that I'm going to ignore, and I'm going to ignore this field. Once I've selected all the fields I'm going to ignore, then I need to map my KPI or performance measures. I give it the metric ID name that tells me what the name is that I'm mapping. Then I tell it where the value is. I could have had a threshold column. Now I need to map it. I select my P&L example. I select all the fields. And once again, I need to map it. You'll notice here that Gross profit and production fees do not match anything that is in the scorecard. So when we look at the P&L example, the names that we're looking at, we do not have those fields. So we need to find those fields and then map them. We can see we have product sales is the same as product fees from the export. We review our export from QuickBooks and we see that total income and gross profit are merely a restatement of the same number. We see that total income is properly mapped, so we're okay and we can say okay. If we're going to export the same fields with the same data every month, we could schedule it, but we would not be able to use it raw. We would have to add a mapping to a date field, and then we save it. Once we've saved these, then all we have to do is run them now. When we run them now, you'll see a dialog that says success. When it says success, all of the data has been imported. If it has a failure, you click on the last run and it will tell you what is wrong. That's it for the basic import of data with the 3 forms of spreadsheet using Excel and Connect to update your KPIs or performance measures in Scoreboard or Connect, Scoreboard or QuickScore. If you have any questions, please write helpdesk@spiderstrategies.com. Thanks, and have a great day.